So we're now in our 9th season at the club. We finished 6th last year, and we are expected to finish in 15th in the league, which honestly is not a massive shock. We now have 350,000 coming in from sponsorship money, which is a lot better than it was before. And Serbia have officially joined the EU, meaning that any club that is in the EU that tries to sign a player before the age of 18 can actually sign them before he turns 18 because they are in the EU like we are. It's annoying, and it's what stopped Napoli from signing our best DM, Stolcic, when he officially left us a couple of seasons ago. We are expected to finish in the relegation group, and in a few years' time, we are told to establish the club in the SuperLiga, which, let's be frank, is probably expected at this point since we finished in the top 6 in the last 2 seasons. Question is, can we do it again? Let's find out what we've done in the first half of the season. So we are back at the winter break, and we got off to the best possible start, winning 4 consecutive league matches for the very first time ever, even if they are against teams we should be beating. But we also took a draw at Red Star, and then won the next 3 matches afterwards, meaning we won 7 of our first 8 matches of the campaign, before for some reason dropping a lot of points against teams we shouldn't be dropping points against. Cordobara got a point. Then we lost to TSC and Rednik, so don't know what happened there. We then beat the Pradak, and then we lost at home 2-0 to Partizan, which is technically their home, but it happened. We're through to the second round of the Cup. We then drew 0-0 before we won 7-0 against Jeva Ivan Juka, so that's a shock to the system. We then won the next 2 games, winning 3-0 and 3-1, before we were held to a 0-0 draw by a team we should be beating every day of the week. And then we got knocked out of the cup on penalties, and then lost to Novi Pazar in the 92nd minute of the game. Drew 1-0 against Red Star, meaning that we've actually taken a point against Red Star home and away, before Vustavat beat us in the last game of the regular season before the winter break, and the league table looks like this. We are currently in 4th place, and we look like we can be challenging for Europe. Red Star and Kukuriki Stankom are both 10 points clear of us. Partizan are only a point clear of us, and bizarrely, we look like we could challenge for Europe, but we are only 6 points clear of the relegation group, so there's that to be concerned about. And I think we beat 7-0 on 10th, so I literally don't know what to say about this situation, but either way, interesting times to say the least. And the youth intake doesn't look amazing. We are told to expect 2 strikers, a top prospect in midfield, and maybe a handy winger. But I'm not holding up much hope for this because everything else looks a bit dire. And I'm not really expecting the best things to happen here. So let's see what our youth intake gave us, shall we? So we're back, and the youth intake didn't give us much. Yep, not ideal to say the least. We only got 2 players I want to talk about, which is kind of bad when you think about it, but okay. Zivorad Rastovic is the first player, and he could be okay. Young striker, has 6 finishing, but could be a good striker either way. Could be a good winger, could be a good inverted wing as well. He's got a lot of attributes I'm looking for, though we kind of need more strength and depth in a lot of areas as it is anyway. The only other player I want to talk about is Stefan Menakovic, and could be a good winger. He's got 11 crossing, 12 dribbling, 14 acceleration, and yeah, looks like he could be a very decent winger if we train up the rest of his attributes. Don't really expect a lot from him, to be completely honest with you, but hey, it's better than nothing. He's only 15, he could definitely improve. Our Leaf, on the other hand, looks better. We drew 0-0 against Kukuriki, who were, 10 points clear at the beginning of the phase, and then we won 1-0 twice in a row. We then only drew 1-0 against TSC, which is disappointing, but then we beat Redniki 1-0. We drew 0-0 against Napodek, who I genuinely think we should beat. Then we beat Partizan 4-2 away from home. Generally don't know how we did this, but we beat Partizan 4-2 away from home, and given it's our ground and their ground, this is kind of a big deal. Militic got a hat-trick. So, yeah, turns out we can beat the best teams now. That's the second time we're beating Partizan now. And then we won 1-0 in the last game since we last met, and the league looks like this. Somehow, we've closed the gap to just 3 points at the top, and while Red Star have got a game in hand, both themselves and Kukuriki have not picked up a lot of points. In fact, I think Kukuriki only picked up 8 points 11 points since we last looked at the table 8 games ago, so that's not great. Red Star picked up even less points, and suddenly we are just 3 points off the top of the table. Partizan, we are 4 points ahead of. This might be perhaps our best chance to win the league, and I genuinely cannot believe I'm saying that. But the question is this: did we do it? Did we cause a shock and win the league? Or did Red Star or Partizan or Kukuriki get the league title instead? Or did Vustovic, of all teams, come from out of nowhere and decide to actually invite themselves to the party that they weren't invited to? Or did anyone else get there as well? Let's find out. So what we're going to do is go through the results we had first. And Jova Avajika, we beat 2-1 before we start the next phase. And Partizan kind of got revenge on us, beating them 4-2. They beat us 5-1. Before we beat Red Star 2-0. At their ground. We've been Red Star and Partizan in the same season. I just don't know what else to say. Then we lost 3-2 against Stankum when they scored a 95th minute equalizer. Yeah, that's a thing that happened. Couldn't believe it, but it is what it is. But then we won 2-1 the next game. We drew 1-1 the next match, having gone behind. But then we lost by a 0 against Vustovic. And that was annoying. But then, we won our last league game by 0. So, was 13 points enough in the last 8 games to win the league title? And how close did we get if we didn't? We finished second place. Yeah, we actually got that close. We've got second place and missed out by 2 points from Kukuriki Stankum. You know, the team that we considered that 95th minute winner to? Yeah, we were that close. We were a 95th minute winner away from winning the title. If they didn't win that game, they have 69 points. We have 70. We're the league champions. And we're in the Champions League. So that's a thing that's happened. Can't believe it, but we've actually gotten the closest we could ever get without winning the league title as far as I'm concerned. Still can't believe we got second, quite frankly, and we finished ahead of both Partizan and Red Star. The shock title challenge almost bore fruit with something. Everyone was dropping points against everyone else, and the fact that Vustovic, who finished in 5th, were only 8 points off the title in the end and almost beat Red Star in the league game, says a lot. Red Star were just 3 points away from dropping out of the top 5. That's how close this title race was in the end, and how close the league was. Like last year, we can't do this season review because we kind of didn't know where we would be finishing. Fun fact, we actually finished our league games before everyone else, and we were actually top at one point. But then Stankum won, Partizan didn't. I think Partizan lost their last game of the year, which is saying even more impressive. But next year, we were expected to finish in the relegation group, and to only get to the second qualifying round of the Champions League, which is where we're going to be anyway. And then, 5 years from now, finish in the top half of the league table. We're in the Champions League, and if we do well enough, we can get a lot of money from the Champions League. And given the fact we are in Partizan Stadium, that could be amazing for our finances. So, even if we didn't win the title, this is still a huge season for our point of view. And financially, it will help us. We've only got 373,000 right now, but it's the best we've been financially in a very long time. And we are expected to make more and more money as we can go. I haven't been upgrading any facilities right now, so our facilities do need some work to be improved. But if we get enough money, I'm definitely upgrading the training facilities, the youth facilities, the junior coaching, and youth recruitment. But who went up and who went down in everything else? Let's find out. So in the end, none of the teams that finished in the relegation playoffs went down, but Novi Pazar went down along with Maridos Lucani. If I'm saying that wrong, forgive me, I genuinely don't know how to say half these teams' names. The teams coming up though, Zlatibor and Spartak Subotica. The fact that Spartak Subotica did not win the league is kind of surprising to me and tells me a lot. But what does the team look like? Well, we're looking at the star ratings. We're going to actually show all the best players here. So, let's look at this and ask the question, who are the best players we have? Let's go from goalkeepers upwards, eh? Stefan Belic is definitely improving. We're looking very excited for him, honestly. He's really good now. At the age of 21, he's considered a good enough player to be considered a good player for the SuperLiga. We do have MacLeod Jovicevic, who is not terrible, but is only 18, can improve quite substantially. We've got Ivan Duric, who I'm trying to get a loan spell for, but I don't think we can. He needs work. And we've also got Nonad Radan, so 16 years of age, can definitely improve. We'll need to keep it in the club for a couple of years, I think, before we loan him out. So no surprise, Popovic is considered the best player in the right back position. He doesn't like big matches, though. We need to really work on his pressure, I think, and just say what we can do. He's considered a decent player for this division. His consistency is very useful, even if he wasn't particularly great this year. He only played 18 times in the league, which kind of says how bad he was playing and also potentially injuries he got. Wasn't a lot of injuries, actually, just really bad. So I just dropped him a few times, really, after he broke his foot. So, yeah, he broke his foot, first game of the year, and kind of didn't recover for most of the season, which is a bit of a shame. But what can you do? We did play Branislav Marjanovic this year, and he got 6 assists, a 7.2 average rating, so he was really good this year. And unfortunately, I don't think he's ever going to be good enough to be considered a top flight player, but yeah, he's been useful, and I cannot complain at all. We do have Dejan Zikovic out on loan. I think he could be useful long term. Whether or not he will develop enough to be considered good enough, I don't know. But according to our backroom staff, they think he'll be a SuperLiga right back in the future. Whether or not he can actually develop to be that good, I generally don't know. But he needs a bit more work before we consider him to be a player that we use in the first team. So Stefan Rakovic has considered himself to be the best left back in the team now. And honestly, it's not shocking. He's been really good. I say really good. He's got a 6.78 average rating. But he's kind of made this position of his own. He can play in both positions on the wing. In the wing-back positions, could also be a winger if we need him to be. But we do have Slobodan Jovanovic as well, who I genuinely am probably going to let go, to be completely honest with you. He actually is already being offered for a move, so he'll be leaving us. Which leaves us with Alexander Minadovic, who has potential. 18 years of age. We only played him once in his career, but he's turned 18. I'm probably going to give him more first-team football. For rotation policies, really, we need to give him more first in football. It's really a shame that Miodrag Jetic has already lost his potential. Don't know why, but he has, so something to work on. So, Nadine Hozo is now our best centre-back. I know it says left-back, but I'm using a centre-back. He's better as a centre-back, quite frankly, and I think you can see why. He's 20 years of age, doesn't have a cap for Bosnia yet, but I expect he will at some point in the future. He's considered good enough to be a SuperLiga player, and that's great for our point of view. And then we've got Mirko Milosevic, who's 18 years of age, and I think he will be a Montenegro international at some point in the future. He's already got 10 under-21 caps at the age of 18. He's still quite young. He's developing quite nicely. He's already considered good enough to be a first-choice player in the SuperLiga, which as far as I'm concerned is perfect. Jasmine Kotovic is actually kind of being phased out the squad, which sounds quite disastrous in some regards, but never going to be good enough to be a Bosnian international, good enough to be a second tier player, but other than that, don't really see a lot of future for him. His contract expires next year. I don't know what I'll be doing with him, to be completely honest with you, even if he's considered a club legend. But Radoslav Murder is quite good and is developing quite nicely. Look at the green arrows. He's exciting. I think he'll be providing competition as well this year. So we've got 4 centre-backs that could be really useful in the long term. So we've got Nemanja Kolom, and for 19, he's already really good. Stosic, I would have loved to keep, but Kolom, second best player in that position we've ever had, and looks quite good. A resolute personality. He's long term going to be our starter. I'm absolutely guaranteeing you that now. Nemanja Momic did get some game time this year, mostly from the bench, but 16 appearances. We are trying to ease him into the first team, but his composure, his consistency, not great. Consistency definitely an issue. Still considered to be a third tier player, but that's why he's not starting. With Cologne there, why would we start the guy? And then you got Branislav Alexic, who might be let go. I don't know yet, but needs work, very much so. We've got Mahir Bajramovic, who is very exciting and is considered a good player for his division, a decent player for his division, sorry, but could be considered a good player in the future. Doesn't like big matches, but that's not going to stop me from using him. He's got 3 years left in his contract. I intend to keep him around. Same as Dejan Rakitic, who is considered a decent player right now, could be a good player for the future. Weirdly enough, they're probably my two oldest players, and Rakitic could be my captain in the future, despite being an unambitious personality. It says a lot that I'm relying on him to be my captain, but 16 leadership, 16 determination, I don't see why I wouldn't, even if he's only got 10 work rate, but that can easily be improved over time. And then we got Dalibor Barkic, who's probably never going to reach his full potential, sadly, but it is what it is, unfortunately. We do have Lazar Pazic, and yeah, right winger, still his role. Is considered to be a decent player only, probably will never improve, and that's a shame, but he's liked by the fans, he's consistent, he likes big matches, he's important, and he got 20 goal contributions this year. Admittedly, he's taking corners, but that doesn't hurt at all. We do have Maikan, who is, still here. Probably going to let go of him at some point after his contract expires, or we sell him on. I don't know yet, but needs to work on him, really. It's an issue. He can play on both the left and the right wings and up front. So there you go. And then we got Vuk, who I'm just going to say call Vuk because I don't really want to say his full name. He is still exciting. I think we can make him to be a long-term successor to Maikan, if no one else comes through anytime soon. He is 21, yes, but we just haven't really given him a lot of first-team football. I say that we gave him 24 matches this year. Didn't have the best rating, but he can still improve quite nicely. So we're going to say goodbye to Alexa Kostic Milanotovic. Never knew how to say his name properly. But after 9 seasons, he will be leaving at the end of the year. He's not good enough for us anymore, and he's 33. We do have Igor Burkic, who I want to give first-team football to at some point. He's considered a decent player for both wings and in the centre midfield role. He needs work, though. We also got Rajko Savic, who, honestly, given his loan spell, isn't amazing, but has potential to be really nice, and I think we can use him long-term. I really do. The same with Branislav Ramadani, but he's got potential, even if he's unambitious. But then we've also got Filip Dukanovic, who generally, if we give him first-team football next year or at some point in the future, he'll be fine. He only just turned 17, so he's got an entire year worth of development still to go before we really need to give him first-team football. But this guy's got potential. We do have Stefan Dajkovic, who I think would be very good for the left-wing position, and I'm going to try and give him first-team football. He's been coming on for the bench every now and again. I think long-term will be potentially the man to succeed Maikan and Vuk, but I don't know yet. He's got a lot of work to do still. Same with Zoran Jovanovic, and he needs work. He needs first-team football. I haven't been able to give him that this year, which is a shame. So let's talk about our strikers, shall we? Milorad Militic got 21 goals this year in the league. I think that tells you how good this guy is now. He's considered to be a good player for this division at least. Still has consistency issues, still has injury problems, but we do have a striker coming in that can be good. And that is Predrag Markovic. It says he's a left winger. I think he's a striker personally, even if he's only got 6 finishing and 7 composure. He's promising. He's got promising striker as a description. I'm going to use him as a striker. I don't care what people say. He's only a 17. We've given him some first-team football this year. Wasn't amazing, mind you, but hey, he's developing. He's got a long-term prospect. We're going to ease him in, not start him at all that often, and give him bench appearances. It's the best way to do this. And what I'm going to do now, though, is end this here. I hope you guys have enjoyed yourselves. I hope you guys will like and share this video and that you subscribe to the channel. Where do you think we'll finish next year in the league? How well do you think we'll do in the Champions League? And can we actually win a cup for once? We've not gone past the quarterfinals yet. I want to do that at some point in the future. And where do you think we lost the league title? I want to hear your thoughts on all of those down below. But either way, until next time, goodbye and well, good night.